Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, baby. You keep thinking that this is a pre-recorded intro, but is it really? I don't think so. You know why? Because we are not some classical guitar player, okay? We're electric guitar players. Ah, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for athleticism, for electric guitar, for the guitar angle. Woo! Yeah! Ladies! Gentlemen! Mwah! What's happening? Woo! That's what I'm talking about! Happy Saturday! Happy Sunday! Wherever you are! What's happening? Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Ladies, gentlemen, look at me. The devil's in the detail. How you doing? Let me reduce this volume of this. Bring my music down, Antoinette. Go bring it down. Sorry guys, my assistant is really not up to, I might have to fire her today. Unbelievable. Yes, thank you. Actually, bring it back up. Hold on. Everything is on me and light. All right, bring it down now. Sorry, guys. I had to do that bit. What I was saying is, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Happy Sunday, happy Saturday, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of the Guitar Angle. Woo! What a music. What a song, baby. I'm so ready to go. Come here. Woo! Let's go. Let us go, shall we? All right, God, man, I gotta tell you guys, I am in the mood. You know what I'm in? In the mood. I'm ready to go. Gotta tell you, I'm ready to go. Thanks for watching. Good night. That's what I meant. Not really. We've got an amazing docket for you today. I gotta tell you. And here's the thing, right? The thing is that this week actually was a quiet week for guitar news. But we got an awesome docket. First, we're going to talk about Ibanez guitars Ying and Yang that they did for Korn. We talked about the Ying in 2-3 streams ago. Now we're going to talk about the Yang. And there was a video out. Want to check it out. Then, OpenAI, the ChatGPT guy, they released Sora 2. And there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk about lawsuits and issues and copyright and intellectual property and all that jazz. And we're going to talk about the impact of that in the guitar world. Then, KHDK, Kirk Hammett's pedal company, started producing guitars, which is interesting. It was like kind of interesting. And then, Line 6 Helix finally threw out their Stadium XL model in the wild. And there's so many new things coming out with that, which we're going to talk about. So that is our items on the docket. I got to tell you, comparing to last week, because this time of the year, usually there's a lot of guitars being put out in the market. But unlike last week, this week was pretty quiet. So let's have a chat and talk about our guitars. Okay, so before we do that, though, I need to make a quick clarification. Okay? I need to do a quick clarification of something we talked about last week, and I didn't do a good job explaining it. So, in our last week's stream, somebody asked me about Treble bleed, and what is it, and how is it done? And I didn't do a good job explaining it. So I thought I want to take this chance to explain a little bit more properly and correct the errors that I made. Zuhair, good evening. How are ya? Dorotio, how are ya? I am a little early. I might be a little early, you know. But I'm glad you guys joined in because I actually want to set one quick thing right from last week's stream that I did a good job. I think Zuhair asked me what was Treble bleed, and I didn't do a good job explaining it. So I thought before we start the docket today, I wanted to quickly correct a couple of things that I said not properly, and I didn't like what I explained. Okay, so we want to go through that first, and then we'll go to the docket. Dorothy says, just finished painting outside my house. God, that's a lot of work. I remember you told me you were painting in your daughter's bedroom, and I'm like, that's a lot of work. But then outside your house is a lot more work. I'm glad you finished it, dude. I hope it doesn't start raining or whatever. Yeah, I remember when I did some paintings, like a friend of mine's place, like his room. And my shoulders were out for 2-3 days after because like you're doing that the whole time. And it's like a ginormous exercise for your deltoids. Front deltoid, back deltoid, middle deltoid. And yeah, that was like goodbye shoulders for a couple of days. So I can only imagine what you're going through, brother. Yeah. Zuhair asks, are you in the USA? What color did you paint? Oh, he's asking Dorotio, not me. I'll let him answer. So, setting the record straight. Last week, Zuhair asked me what was Treble bleed, and I said it's a way of maintaining your high-end frequencies on the guitar. And I was correct. It is, right? But I made a couple of errors, so I thought let me briefly correct the record a little bit, and then we get to the docket. Treble bleed, yes, it does help you maintain the higher end frequencies in your guitar. But what I didn't say is the context of it. So I thought, let me talk about it. So you have your volume and tone knobs. They are basically attached to a potentiometer. It's a thing, right? That changes the signal in your guitar. As you reduce your volume, as you change the potentiometer, in other words, as the resistance in the circuit changes by you changing your volume knob, the proportionate amount of high frequency that you have in your signal changes, right? So you have your volume at like high up all the way in, nice bright sound, but as you lower the volume, your high end dissipates, goes away, right? Non-linearly. So like in lower volumes, the guitar sounds more muddy, more fuzzy, not as clear, not as bright. The way to resolve that is to do treble bleed so that as you reduce the volume, the high-end frequencies don't go away and the brightness in the sound doesn't go away, right? So that was the first thing I was like, I didn't do a good job explaining. And then the second thing I said last week's stream was that you use resistance, the resistors in the circuit to achieve that. And that was not complete either, right? In fact, the main method of, you know, adding treble bleed is using a capacitor, not resistors. However, you add both capacitors and resistors if you don't want your sound to go too bright. So an experience of a lot of people, when you add the capacitor to the circuit to create that treble bleed, it makes the sound of your guitar a little too bright. So then you sort of dampen that effect and you find the right balance by adding the appropriate resistor, right? So these are the two things I got wrong from last week. It's on me. I take responsibility when I don't say things complete or right. And I just want to let you guys know, let's set the record straight. Zuhair says, just looked it up. That looks like an awesome color for a house. Bright and yellow would be strange in my opinion, but Phoenix Fossil looks amazing. Gray greenish, just perfect. You guys now make me curious about Phoenix Fossil color. Phoenix Fossil. I don't know what that color is. I want to see. Give me a second. We want to talk about Phoenix Fossil paint. Oh. Interesting. Hold on a second. That is Phoenix Fossil. Glidden Phoenix Fossil. Okay, let's add Glidden to it. Glidden Phoenix Fossil. Kind of like that. Why is it called Phoenix Fossil? I wonder. Does Phoenix even have fossils? I mean, I don't know, with the climate around it, Phoenix and Arizona, I don't know. But okay, now we know. Boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you, this whole painting thing. You gotta, Dorothy, you gotta do a challenge. And the challenge should be, you gotta paint the whole house. And then play non-stop guitar like you do gallops or whatever standing. And then see how your arm work. See how your arms work and then how much you can actually play. Zuhair says, what if Google searching on the live reveals your questionable search history, Sorenzo? Be careful. Listen, man. Everything I do is questionable, okay? It's like, it's not what if, is that there is something questionable. So when you guys join and watch the stream, I need you to know that you're watching something very questionable, okay? Like, that's a given already, so that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. Right? So, no, I'm not worried about it. I'm not, like, hopefully you guys know me enough by now that know that there are some things that are very questionable, okay? And you can ask questions about it. You know, questionable means you can question it. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you can question. Okay? Unbelievable, this guy. It's just, I don't... Dorotio says, I am Sorenzo. Hold on. My video froze. Why did the video freeze on the other camera? It happened before. Hold on a second. You guys look at me while I'm fixing the... Hold on. Let me go back to the other one. Hold on. I'm frozen. And I kind of look drunk too. What's that face? Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this thing. Set everything up. Get everything right. Takes me an hour to set the whole thing up. from the beginning to the end, and then this is what it does. Unbelievable. All right, let's try it now. Oh, it's still like this. Holy smokes. It is awkward, right? Like, I look like I'm high or something. That's not... Speaking of questionable things. All right, hold on. Do I have the other cam 1 and 2? No, I don't. Okay, good. There we go. I got it. All right, so let me see if I can try to fix it while you guys... while you guys see my beautiful face down there. How's your day? How's your day, guys? Yeah. All right. What do we have here? What's going on here? But yeah, so there are, did you use like, so for painting, because I know for painting these days, people mostly use those rolly things. It's not painting brush. Like you guys probably didn't go with this. You probably went with the rolly stuff. And they're a lot better, you know, for spreading the paint evenly. From my understanding. But like the thing is, with those rolly stuff, like there's different materials, and there's like, I remember when I was painting my friend's place, because he knew a little bit about paint, and apparently if you use a certain material in that rolly thingy, the hairy bits, the tiny fiber bits of that, get detached and get attached to the wall. So I was like, oh, okay, that's not good. But yeah, inch angled paintbrush, Chinese, right? 2.5 inch angled paint, right. Okay, so you went with paintbrushes. Yeah, I am like, the only reason I got a paintbrush at home, by the way, is to use it on the guitars. So when I finish playing, or when I want to dust the guitar, because you know how there's like dust sometimes accumulating on under the strings, on top of your pickups, between the pickups, and it's a very neat way to sort of de-dust those guitars, and that's why I use it. All right, is this damn camera on or not? Let me make my... We're not on yet, hold on. Zuhair says, they was good in guitar lately, played a lot today. I like it. Zuhair says, so he's talking about painting his house, and you happen to have this paintbrush on your desk. Is that it? Yeah. Of course that's it. What more do you want? All right. Why is this camera doing this to me? I wonder. We really got to get it sorted. For the body of the guitar, yeah. Because like you can't reach it properly, like with the, because I have these like microfibers, right? So this particular one I think is the Fender one that I bought. I got a couple of them. Doesn't say. Yeah, so the microfiber stuff is pretty good for like basic de-dusting. And then this one is really good if you like sweat a lot. This one's the Ernie Ball one. If you sweat a lot on the guitar, this one's a little better. This one's a bit more fluffy, right? This material. It's really good for getting rid of the dust, but it's not good for getting rid of sweat marks and all that. This one is much better for it. And then at some point, you know, when you're changing your strings and all that jazz, obviously you want to use a proper guitar cleaner if you play that guitar a lot. So yeah. Okay, let me try this on the camera. Hold on. Okay. Now what? Now you're gonna play nicer now. And boom! No, go back. That's depressing. I don't know why it's doing that. The 2 views are from different cameras? Yeah. Yeah, so I have like one camera here, which is the look at me view. And then I have the normal human being view. Like the usual one. Okay, what if I do this? Would that work? No. Alright, guys, give me one quick second. I know, at least this is working, I get it. Right now, you can't see me, but you can hear my beautiful voice. And I genuinely don't know why this is happening. Let's see. No, it's not a physical connection. I have a feeling that it is because my antivirus or my Windows security firewall gets updated every time. And then it just messes things up. Because it started properly, right? Everything was working just fine. But then the whole thing went down to the drains when, yeah. It doesn't even recognize it. That's weird. Doroteo says, Nuno Betancourt finally left Washburn, which is a lot older than Gibson and Fender as an American guitar company. You're absolutely right. Yeah, like those guys were, what? Was Washburn first like established in the 20s or 30s in Chicago? In Illinois? And Nuno finally left it like for the better, in all honesty. Because Washburn's been quietly walking away from the electric guitar game. Washburn has always been an acoustic guitar company, right? Again, I think I said it in that emergency live stream that we did on Tuesday or Monday, was it? You know, they've always been that. It's just that because of the boom of rock and metal music in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, they kind of got into the electric guitar game. But then as they were bought by a bunch of investors, it's like all went away. But word is that Nuno is using the same person, Chris Made, to make those guitars. So I don't think there's going to be a like a drop in the quality of the guitars or anything of that nature. It's the exact same builder. It's the exact same specs. Yeah. Yeah, Zora says Washburn's older than Fender Gibson. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Doroteo says most Washburn artists left years ago, but their website, they still have them as... Yeah, I know. On their website, they even have like models that they don't actually produce. And on their Instagram channels, they share photos of like artists using Dimebag Darrell, like when Washburn was doing Dimebags, the DML stuff. Like they still share photos of those guys on their Instagram channel, which I'm like, that's just bizarre, man. Do it. Like, I'm like, I don't mind them doing it. I'd love for them to do it. I'm like, do it. But you know. So, and here's the thing. The only thing different, by the way, about that new Nuno guitar and the old Washburn stuff and fours is that Washburn's top of the body has a carve on the belly so that your arm goes around a lot easier. It has that carve. Whereas this new Nuno guitars, at least the current prototype that we're being shown, are boxy like a Telecaster, like they're old school. They don't have that carve, top carve. Yeah. Doroteo says Michael Sweet left over 10 years ago as well. Who was Michael Sweet? I don't know the guy. Hold on. Michael Sweet, did you say? I don't know him. Michael Sweet. Why is there a photo of Diddy when I search for Michael Sweet? This is like... Why is this happening? Oh, God. Anyways, Michael Sweet is an American musician. He is the co-founder, songwriter, guitarist, lead singer for metal band Stryper. I don't know the guy. Cool guitar. What is this guitar? That's a Washburn? What is this guitar? Dorothy, seriously, guys, Michael Sweet from Stryper. I don't know Stryper, dude. So he was with Washburn. Okay. The man left 10 years ago, and Washburn still got it on their website, huh? Unbelievable. Okay. So that is the guitar. Ha! I had no idea. Let's check this out. Washburn announced his new Michael Sweet signature Parallax V guitar. This is July 10th, 2018. This is 7 years ago. Okay, so maybe not 10 years ago, maybe like 6 years ago, because they just announced that new guitar. My guy, Torrio said Stryper been strong since 1984. Guys, come on, bros. I don't know the guy. I don't. You're good with stuff from the 80s, dude. I'm not so good with those, as I've proven it over and over again. Right. So what is that about? So Washburn announced new Michael Sweet signature Parallax V guitar, which combines the Stryper guitarist's favorite 80s finish with updated electronics. The PX code whatever, to go by its official name, features yellow fretboard inlays. I dig it, by the way. And 3 7s on the rear, in addition to a redesigned mahogany with slightly shorter bottom edge. Right. So they kind of that is like a very similar concept to like ESP arrows, for example, right? That's a very similar concept. Yeah. This guitar also features a maple neck with an ebony fingerboard, a Floyd Rose locking trim with a 34 mil brass block and spring silences, bus fade and tuning system, and Duncan designed blackout humbuckers. Wow, okay. Yeah, Seymour Duncan blackouts are pretty good. I have a couple of Seymour Duncan blackouts on my Corey Bailu signature, my V, and they sound pretty mean, so not gonna lie. I was playing these guitars tracking for the new Stryper album, so yes, I really use my own guitars. It's got the Duncan design blackout, which are what I use, and they sound fantastic. They really do. If my name wasn't on this guitar, I would still rave about it. It's fantastic and all that jazz. Yeah, right, okay. Stryper? Oh, right, okay. Okay, literally Stryper. Literally in stripes. I get it. I get it. I get the idea. Okay. That is very 80s. This is not. So this is, I think, better. Yeah, this is a lot better. But I get it why they're called Stryper. Huh. Do you have like a recommendation for a song or something, Doroteo? Like any song you think would be a good... Because like they have songs from like 86 and then 2018. That's like a long run, y'all. Yeah. So which songs would you recommend for somebody who's not educated on Stryper? which songs would you recommend for us to listen to that is a good representation of the band? Zuhair says, "To Hell with the Devil has always been my favorite. I think it's their most famous song." Right, see, Dorothea also says, "To Hell with the Devil." Okay. Okay, To Hell with the Devil. Okay, we'll listen to that. Hold on. To Hell with the Devil. Right. It's the third studio album by Christian metal band Stryper, released in '86. It was the first Christian metal album to achieve platinum status. Selling over 1 million copies, remained the best-selling Christian metal album until POD's Satellite in 2001. Right. What is Christian metal exactly? Again, this is like stuff you hear. Like, I have no idea. Hold on, let me actually copy this on the notes so I can listen to it. Okay, so what is Christian metal? Definition. An umbrella term for various subgenres of heavy metal music where the lyrics, themes, sometimes band members' dedications are centered on Christian faith. Right, okay. Got it. All right. So To Hell with the Devil. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That that kind of makes sense. I get why. I get the theme now. Interesting. Man, I gotta tell you guys, I've been trying to fix this darn camera thingy and it's been bugging me. It ain't working. Surrender as well? Okay. All right. Let me put that in my notes. Hold on. Stryper. Surrender. Cool. The intro riff is fire. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. I'll check it out. All right. Let's see if the camera... Why is this camera ain't working? Is this like any... Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. This technical difficulty is really getting to me. See, the camera is working. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Okay, so what happens here now is a mystery. Boy, oh boy. Sorenzo in distress? I'm damsel in distress, baby. All right, guys, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can have another go at fixing this thing. BRB. We are back. We are back. Are you guys here? Can you see me? Hold on. Tell me. Are we live? Everybody see me? Yes? I'll take it as a yes. We're back. We're back. Tell me. Yes, we're back. Yes! Yes! All it took was getting out of OBS and disconnecting. Alright, it's better. I like it. I like our chances a lot better now. Okay, good. Alright, so let's get on to the docket, shall we? Let's do it. So, check this out. Check this out. Let us talk about the guitar. Join me. All right. That is not the share screen. Y'all. Hold on. What is happening? Ah, because I resetted everything to default. That's why. I get it now. Okay. Hold on. Because I reset everything. What a stream. I swear to God. I like from an hour 15 minutes before the stream starts. I started setting everything up. I started setting everything up, and then it's like stuff like this happens. It's a live show, man. That's why you can't predict. Giorgio says back for more. Welcome back, sir. So y'all recall we talked about the K7 Yin from the Sir Hetley's guitar. We talked about how awesome this new floating bridge was. It's not a whammy bar, it's a basket handle that they've got there. We talked about the pickups, the DiMarzios. We talked about the guitar in detail. Well, they came out also with the Yang now, which is Monkey's signature guitar, and it's like the sister guitar to Ying. It's like yin and yang, okay? If you guys ever been to a Chinatown ever, somewhere you see yin and yang. And it's very similar. I think, if you guys know Meshuggah guitar players got the exact same Ibanez's. It's pretty much the same concept. Even the pickups are the same. I love the fact that like they sort of coupled it up together. It's a very, very fun thing to be fully honest with you, and I love the look of this guitar. So let's talk about the specs of this. First of all, one of the differences between this guitar and the Ying is that this one has a floating bridge with a basket handle, I guess. This one comes with Evertune, right? Now, one advantage that having Evertune on a stage with a 7-string guitar has, like one advantage that comes with it, is the fact that because it's a little harder to keep the lower string in tune, like when you get to the 7-string, 8-string, 9-string range, the thicker strings are harder to stay in tune. And part of that, like you guys know, when you're tuning like your bass strings, the bass-most string, the higher number of strings, it becomes a little harder to accurately tune it because with a little bit of movement or your tuning knobs, tuning changes a lot. So you have to be a little bit more surgical about it. And then you go through all that hassle for it to get the tune on the stage. It's annoying. So I think this is where, like, for a 7-string, 8-string guitar, Evertune is really an advantage in a lot of ways, right? So that's a nice thing about it. The 12th fret inlay is the same. So you got the K7s, 7-string for Korn. So that's all good. Next thing I noticed about it was the neck. It's a nice, stable, 5-piece maple walnut neck from the looks of it. We'll get to the specifics of it in a second. And yeah, very, very similar concept. So they got the Wizard 2.7 neck for this. 5-piece maple walnut, like I said. Maple top body, maple top Nyata body. Nyata is like more affordable mahogany in a lot of ways. But again, you guys remember when we talked about mahogany, like last week, I think, we talked about how, not every mahogany is the same and all that jazz. So in theory, when somebody says Nyata is like affordable mahogany, you really got to play that guitar yourself. I played with the older version of this guitar, if I'm not mistaken. So that was when Sir Hetley moved to LTD, and Monkey had still his Ibanez guitar. I think I played with that Ibanez guitar in the store. Jumbo frets, 24, Evertune bridge, standard string space, DiMarzio blaze neck pickup and bridge pickups, passive ceramic, so they're exactly the same as the Ying, by the way. And that's an interesting choice, right? Because your two guitars are going to sound pretty much identical, right? But it allows you to, I guess, match your mix a little better. I don't know. I would guess. But the thing with Korn is that if you guys have seen their like pedal boards, right? Korn's pedal boards is busy. is a hectic. Like, they got a lot of effect going on, and it kind of makes sense because like you get it. Like, you get how Korn's guitar tune is very, very unique live and studio, right? But they have like they have a whole storefront of like pedals on their pedal boards. So I don't know. I guess I better frame it this way. When it comes to the selection of pickups, right? Then ideally you want something really neutral, something really balanced, you know, so that you can put all those effects and EQs and fuzzes and distortions and every other effects that you got on it. Like, they literally throw the kitchen sink with that pedal board every time they're live. So I would expect these pickups. They called DiMarzio Blaze, so high output, but I think really balanced, I would think. And that's my guess. Just knowing the way their pedal boards are for that band. Factory tuning is dropped A. So 2 steps down standard tuning. So A on the 7th string, D on the 6th string. That's pretty Korn, pretty standard. For Korn, EXL 110-7 D'Addario strings. I like NYXLs more, to be fully honest. And the string gauge is 1059, which again makes perfect sense for a dropped A 7 string tuning. 9.5s, I'm probably a bigger fan of for half step down, but 1059s make perfect sense for drop D. I think for my 7th string, because I wanted to play, man, I think I was in drop G or drop G flat, so I went with 1162s. 1162s or 1164s. But for drop A tuning, that's more than sufficient, I think. Gold hardware, scale length 25.5. What? 25.5-inch scale for a 7 string. Okay. That's short. That's a short scale length. 25.5-inch scale is the same scale length as your normal guitar. Like, 25.5 is like your normal 6 string. Okay. I thought it was 26.5. That's interesting. Yeah, okay. No, 1059 strings make perfect sense for drop A for this guitar. It's not too thick. That's a bit short scaled for a 7-string guitar. Fine. Okay. And then 400 millimeter radius. I think it'll translate to what's like 16 inches. Hold on. 2 inches. What is that? 16 inches. Yeah. So I was right. 16-inch radius, nice and flat. We like that. We like flatter fretboards on guitars. And there we go. Your pickups. And comes with Gotha machine heads, lumen lay, side dots, and it doesn't come with its own case. So they say recommended case or bag. That means it doesn't come with it. Yeah. Interesting, huh? Like the fact that it's like 25.5-inch in scale. Right. So all right. So when you have this like a shorter scale guitar, right? So slightly shorter neck, I guess. And you have a 5-piece maple walnut neck. That's a stable neck, right? Yeah. Funny, huh? Who would have thought? And it's a one-piece neck when it comes to or is there a scarf joint there? No, I don't think there's a scarf joint there. Or I could be wrong. Anyways, because you got a 5-piece already, it's nice and stable. Why would you? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, there we go, guys. Doroteo says, I have an Ibanez RG7 string 2002 model, Japanese made. I got it from my son back in 2008 from Craigslist for a real good price. RG7 string, what is the model? Ibanez RG7 string 2002. Which one is it? You gotta give me a little bit. I know, like, again, to be fair to you, again, Ibanez model names are berserk, so I don't expect you to remember. Black body, this one. Is that the one? What do we got here? Introduced by Ibanez for 2000 as a replacement for the classic RG7621. Made in Japan by Fujijin. Yes, with the case. Nice. Features a basswood body, made it to a maple babinga neck. I have no idea what babinga is. I've heard a lot of wood names and all that jazz, but I've never heard of babinga. Babinga sounds like that NBA player's name. Kaminga? Oh, there we go. Neck with a 24-fret rosewood fingerboard, dot position markers. Components include dual Ibanez vintage humbucking pickups with a fixed bridge. Vintage humbucking pickups. Okay. Right. Nice. So what do you play with this? And again, like, so there's like 27 skills. See that, guys? See that? In 2001, a version with the baritone 27-inch scale neck was introduced. I got it. Okay. Never mind. I thought this was 27. And I was like, see, guys? Like, the other one is short scaled, but no. Okay. So for a 7-string, I have a feeling that like 26.5 would be good if you want to drop your tuning at all. Right? If you're going with a standard tuning, 25.5 will do just fine. You got to go really thick, really thick string gouges for dropping the tuning a little on a 25.5-inch 7-string guitar. But yeah. I think the humbuckers look like DiMarzio's, Doroteo said. Right. It says include dual Ibanez vintage humbucking pickups. Could be very well inspired by that. I mean, Ibanez and DiMarzio go a long, long way. Yeah. So this one is also 25.5-inch scale. And 1059s for standard tuning makes perfect sense in this. Right. Huh. Okay. Man. Gotta tell you, like, you guys, I'm not sure if you guys had the same experience or not, but I remember when I first heard Korn, and I was like, you know, that guitar sounds different. The guitar sounds insane. It was Korn and it was Deftones. And at that time, I had no idea. I had no clue that 7/8 string guitars existed. I had no idea. And I was like, hey, this sounds insane. This sounds like, do they have more than one bass guitar? Like, what's going on here? And then I realized, okay, the guitar's got more strings. And that's when I learned, okay. But really, Korn really made it popular with 7 strings, like back in the 90s, early 2000s. They are one of the people that, they are one of the bands that really made it popular. They really brought like 7-string guitars to the scene. Yeah, to this day, I still listen to their song, I Did My Time, if you guys have seen it. It's the soundtrack for the Tomb Raider movie that Angelina Jolie played. I did my time. Yeah. To this day, I listen to that song. I play it sometimes. It's a really easy piece to play. If you guys want like a really, really easy song to play on a 7-string, if I'm to teach somebody like a song on 7-string and they're new to guitar, like that song would be one of my go-tos. It's a really easy song to play and it's a lot of fun. Like you can headbang with it, you can vibe with it. Yeah. Sorry, I needed a little bit of extra caffeine, okay? So yeah, that was our item number 1 on the docket, ladies and gents. On the docket. Now, how many of you guys have heard of ChatGPT? Okay, hopefully you know ChatGPT, but how many of you guys... Dorothy says, what kind of Joe are you drinking? I was just like in ChatGPT. What kind of Joe am I drinking? It is a Brazilian coffee brand called Orfeo. Right. And let me share my screen. I'll show you what it is. Hold on. So the reason I'm drinking that is because Mrs. Peachy is from Brazil. She's a Latina. And she was in Brazil. And she brought me my favorite coffee brand. It's called Orfeo Coffee Brazil. And this, my friend, is the kind of Joe I'm drinking today morning for me. Yeah, so Orfeo is the brand. They don't, funny enough, they don't have it in Australia. Even in Amazon Australia, they don't have it. I'm like, God damn it. It is a freaking island. But this is what I'm drinking, and it's amazing. Wholeheartedly recommend Orfeo Classic for those who love coffee. It tastes just amazing. It's so good. Yeah. Anyways. Zuhair says, I'll keep dropping in and out from now on, always enjoy the live. Yeah, sure, dude. In and out it is. In and out is good. Doroteo says, I heard of it sometimes. Sometimes I use it minimal usage. Right, okay. ChatGPT. Now we're back to ChatGPT. We're done with the coffee talk. Okay, so ChatGPT. Okay, you guys have heard of that. Have you guys heard of Sora? Sora is this application by ChatGPT, OpenAI, right? And Sora is like this thing that generates video. You give it prompts, it generates you videos, right? Now, the reason I'm talking about this on a guitar stream, it'll make sense in a second. That is, Sora 2 is out. So there's a second iteration of Sora. And it's way too realistic for my comfort. and it has absolutely no regards for anybody's intellectual property, right? So when you check out like the application, and I haven't fully played it with it properly, but I'll give you guys a quick taste of how it is, right? And then we can talk about it a little bit more. So check this out. I'm just going to quickly jump to X, formerly known as Twitter, right? And I got this prepared. Check this out.
Station sushi. You had a bad...
This is made with Sora. Okay? Let me reduce myself to the size of very small, right? So check this out. This is made with Sora with a prompt, and it literally is Family Guy. Okay? Check this out.
All right, can we just get out of here? I got a bad feeling. And not the cool movie kind. More like when you eat gas station sushi.
You had a bad feeling before breakfast, Peter. You said the toaster was looking at you funny.
Yeah, well, it was. Little smug crumb slot.
If you two are finished bickering, I'd like to get back to ruling the galaxy. Or at least the part with...
All right, can we just get out of here? I got...
Right? Which is insane. Which is insane. Right? Just the second iteration of the damn thing. Right? So... I saw this and I was horrified in a way. But also the thing that really got me a little more was, check out the tweet, what the guy said. The guy's name is Chris. I mean, I don't know if it's his real name or not. Let me make it bigger so you guys can see. He said, Family Guy Star Wars joke. And then says, we're actually so close to 4 more good iterations and no lawsuits. and I'm generating all of my entertainment. Right? And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, this is insane, because this will have some implications in the music world. There is no question about it. Now, the question is what, right? The question is what is going to happen in the music world? Because now we obviously have also things such as music generators, right? And if you guys haven't used those AI music generators, I highly recommend you guys to do it, because it is just so insane of how good they actually are. So I went through this, and not so much for rock and metal yet, but they're super good for like hip hop beats and lo-fi beats. They're so good. I made this, like, I forgot the service's name. I'll put it in the comments when I figure it out after a stream, but I put this prompt there to generate me a trap beat that I want it to be melancholic, I want it to be a little dreamy, and I want it to be in a minor scale. And I want it to not be minimalistic. And it just generated something insane. One of the best beats I've ever heard. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So the question becomes, what will happen to the guitar world? Because Chris is right. Few more iterations, and everybody can generate their own customized entertainment, their own customized music, right? So you don't have to listen to me making music or anybody else making music. You don't have to listen to bands or freaking Taylor Swift or Ed Sheeran for that matter, right? You can literally ask that GPT, that AI model, to generate you based on what it knows of you. Have you guys ever tried to use ChatGPT or any other AI model and ask it, hey, what do you know of me? What do you think of me? What's my personality like? Try it. It's a funny exercise. It's a hilarious exercise. You'll be surprised if you use these GPTs a lot. You'll be surprised what it knows about you. I was surprised. I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, what do you think of me? And so it says stuff that was horrifying. So, right? So then it'll generate this stuff based on what it knows of you. And you'll love it. You'll love it more than anything because it's literally customized for you. Right? It's like, so you don't have to tune into a culture anymore. Everything is just like tailor-made for you. So in a scenario like that, what will happen to music in general? And so I would say, all right, well, what will happen is that it will become really like individualized for everybody. But then that means that we don't have a common cultural reference point anymore. See, like back in good old days, before YouTube and everything else, it was like MTV, 2-3 channels, a few radio stations, right? And they all played the same stuff. So everybody tuned into the same stuff. And that became part of the common culture. It brought people together, but because it was like everybody followed the same culture, so we had that in common. We're not going to have that anymore. Right? So I think musicians in general, anyone that produces music, to me, in my humble opinion, is cooked. So like, because if you can get a GPT to custom build something that you absolutely will love, that is for you, why listen to somebody else's creation? You know what I mean? So then all is left for music is the experience of you actually playing the instrument yourself. Right? It's not guitar music that you really like so much like worry about anymore. It's for those who love to play the guitar, is them playing the guitar, right? That's going to be all that is left. The actual human experience of playing the guitar, because nobody, even if you have robots, they can't replicate it for you. You play it yourself, you enjoy it yourself, right? So that bit is irreplaceable. But like music, my goodness, already musicians are struggling because of Spotify and everything else. Now imagine like AI comes in, it's over. It's game over. Like you got to do it as a hobby only. And you got to do it only if you love it. Like That's how I look at it. I know. What are your thoughts? You guys, would you guys agree with that assessment? Because it seems like the better these models get, but in both the music world and the video world, and then obviously comes together, becomes a music video, because that becomes an entertainment piece of its own. The better they get, the less need for a rock star or a musician or a pop star, right? And so then what would the impact of that be on live shows? Less and less live shows? Less and less musicians? Right? So less live shows because there's less musicians? Because the value of music goes to crazy? To nothing? The worth of music is literally going down to zero very, very soon. So then there's no musicians, except from a few that actually love it, but they're not making money with it, so they're less likely to go out on stages. They're going to be like playing at home for themselves. Less shows, that means less people see guitar. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really doom and gloomy. I'm not going to lie. It's not. Yeah. So Zuhair says, I heard of ChatGPT. It seems to me it's usually accurate, but it can be wrong sometimes too. Oh, it can be wrong a lot of times. It still hallucinates. All of them. I use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok on the XAI. And yeah, they get it wrong a lot. But man, they get better significantly very soon. Like, if you guys remember, when iPhone 1 came out, we were all blown away. And then, I don't know, a couple of years later, iPhone 2 came out, right? And it was slightly better than iPhone 1, right? These GPTs and AI models, the new iterations are coming out within weeks now, not years. And they're like better by orders of magnitude. It's like hyperbolic. It's like crazy, right? It's just far better. Like, the speed of it is insane. So yeah, they get a lot of things wrong now, but won't be long where they like are just better. You know what I mean? Zuhair continues. Also was talking with a friend about what if it's just a single person good with computers. Giving all these responses to everyone, getting everyone's info and questions. Yeah, could be. A friend of mine works in IT, and he made the same joke. He's like, how do you know it's actually a GPT in these financial models? It's just not like a call center thingy in a country where the cost of labor is less, and there's like they put like 100 of them there, and they're charging us for like a financial AI. Yeah. And Zuhair says, you have to be kidding me. I'm not kidding. What did I say first thing today? That I have a new docket idea for you. Wanted to say I was enjoying a Total AI metal album earlier. Oh, well, there you go. Kind of sat in with the docket. Dorothy says, yes, indeed. Yeah, that was the reply to the AI future commentary that I did. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Look, and that's actually a really good segue to that next topic, because so the whole trend here, right, is more individualization, is more fragmentation. We're moving away from a common culture, from a common thing, to something a little bit more individualized, right? But then think about like the same thing, same kind of a trend happening in the guitar world, for example, where YouTubers left and right are now producing their own guitars or their own brand of guitars. Like we talked about Otera, we talked about a couple of other YouTubers doing it. Obviously, Ola with his solar guitar has been doing it for a while. Rob Scallion is doing it. What's that famous bassist guy? I forgot his name. He's doing it. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing like their own brand of stuff. And it's, again, becoming more and more individualized and fragmented. Like we're stepping away from a common culture every single day, which is interesting. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's interesting. What I'm worrying about a little is whether then we have anything in common to talk about at all, right? Because even now, like Dorotio brings up a band called Stryper from the 80s, and I have no clue what they are. And he's like, dude, like, how can you not know it? Like, it's this and that. And we can have an interesting talk about it. because that we still agree that there is common culture. Like if I say Metallica, everybody knows what we're talking about, right? But then gets to the point where nobody knowing what the other person is listening to is common. It's like, it's not like which band you listen to. It's like, what kind of music do you listen to? And like, oh yeah, my GPT produces something a little vibey and some vague description. You know what I mean? Like there's just nothing left in common. I don't know how good that's going to be for us. So we'll see. Could be the case that a lot of us will seek still things in common with others so we can connect with others. And we still listen to other people and use them as reference. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to be like. But talking about individual stuff and people's own brand of stuff, Nuno being the latest person in that line, well, I guess not anymore, because KHDK, which is the joint venture between Kirk Hammett and Dave Caron, rather. Well, they used to produce pedals and all that jazz, right? We are now producing electric guitars. That's what they announced. So, this is like Kirk Hammett's joint venture. So they produce high quality pedals. I think the latest one they're pushing out is the one that they made for Chino from Deftones. But they announced the new electric guitar, set of electric guitars in the European guitar shows. I forgot the name of the show, like it's Guitar Summit, Summer Guitar Summit in Europe. Yeah, so check this out. So they literally came out with a bunch of guitar models. They look more old school Gibson styles. So this one is like an Explorer. This one is like a Les Paul with Bigsby and P90s. This one is like more like an SG. So they're like old school stuff. And I saw Dean Zielinski somewhere here in that video. Hold on. And yeah, that's Dean Zielinski, by the way, for those who don't know. So Dean Guitars, if you guys know Dean Guitars, he was the master luthier. He was the founder and master luthier of Dean Guitars. And then he left Dean Guitars. And then he's doing his own thing called Dean Zielinski Electric Guitars. It's like a custom shop with like, custom guitars, kind of a store. Like he's like a lot more smaller now. But yeah, that's him for those who don't know. Yeah. So yeah, these are the kind of guitars that they're producing now, and they announced it in the European Summer Guitar Festival. Again, forgot the name. Sorry for that. Yeah, funny enough, they couldn't wait a couple of more months to do it in NAMM for some reason. I don't know. So yeah, that's like the joint venture between Kirk Hammett and Mr. Caron. And now they produced electric guitar. Like they're doing electric guitars now. So yeah. That was like, which I was like, again, it's exactly within the same trend of everything becoming more and more fragmented, individualized, multiple small builders as opposed to like, yeah. Which honestly, in the guitar world, I don't mind. Any competition for Fender and Gibson, I do not mind at all. Those guys been big and comfortable for way too long. Yeah. Zuhair says, dude, sorry for long texts. Forgive me. Can't control myself sometimes. I had a Dean mini. Yeah, that's all good, dude. Long text is cool. I can read. I had a Dean many years ago. It was all right, nothing great, but no worse either. Yeah, they weren't bad guitars at all. They weren't for me. I wasn't like, I didn't really connect to them much. But they were okay. Like they're not bad. Usually, look, to be fully honest with you, for me, usually when the founder / master luthier leaves that company, I become very skeptical, right? Like, I'm not a fan of investor-ran guitar brands. I'm a fan of guitar players slash luthier ran guitar brands. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Paul Reed Smith leaves PRS at some point, the poor guy has to retire at some point, or he will pass away at some point, God forbid, right? If that company gets bought by investors, I'll be heartbroken first, but then very skeptical later. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's like it's because an investor will never care as much as the founder slash luthier will. Do you know what I mean? And Dorotio very correctly says Dean guitars are in a lot of legal trouble in the past 2 years. They really are. Gibson and Dean were going forwards and backwards with their legal matters. Can I tell you guys something funny, right? So with Dean guitars, while they were going through all these legal troubles, they're going through a lot of legal troubles, right? Because of those legal troubles, they weren't able to sell their guitars in the US, right? They brought down their whole US stock to Australia January last year in Melbourne Guitar Show, which is our equivalent of NAMM. It's nowhere near as big, because Australia is like a country of like 30 million people, right? Like as opposed to the US with like 330 million people, right? So the scale of things is much smaller here. But because of those lawsuits and cease and desist and whatever not, they couldn't sell a lot of the models in the US, like the Les Paul looking models, the V, I think the Les Paul, the V, and the Explorer. Those three were the main points of contention between the two companies. So they couldn't sell them in the US. They brought them all down to Australia. So legally, nothing stopped them from selling them in Australia. And they had a really good discount for them too. I didn't buy them because, like, again, Dean guitars is just not my vibe. It's not my lane. But boy, if I was a Dean guitar fan, I'd be very happy. Because all this stuff they couldn't sell in the US because of legal issues they were selling in Australia. Which I thought it was hilarious. I found it hilarious. I was having a chat with the distributor guy at the show, at Melbourne Guitar Show. And we were just laughing. We were just laughing our asses off. And I was explaining Mrs. Peachy about the similarities between the designs, like, you know, the headstock angles, the neck angles, and the build and all that jazz. And I was like, yeah, babe, like, you know, this is like, you know, Gibson's guitar building paradigm. You know, your headstock has this level of angle, and that's why they break a lot. And a lot of companies like Dean, they sort of follow the similar philosophy. And the distributor guy goes like, shh, don't say Gibson. We're in a battle. And we started to laugh. He was a fun guy. We had a lot of fun chit-chatting about it. Yeah. Zura says, can you look up the album I mentioned above? I'd like your thoughts on it. Oh, the metal album. Is that the one we're talking about? Zura says, I agree. I'd rather have the main boss who cares truly being there. Yeah, look, when the founder and the master luthier is there, they give a damn, right? And especially if their name is on it, like Kiesel, like PRS, like imagine having your name on your own guitar brand. You know what I mean? And you give a damn about guitars. That's like, that's a difficult, like that's a big burden on your shoulders. You gotta perform. You gotta make sure everything's well taken care of. Like to this day, every guitar that they produce in Maryland goes through quality control. Every Indonesian made guitar that gets imported to the US goes through quality control by PRS themselves, like the company themselves. And every single private stock guitar made is inspected and played by Paul himself. You know what I mean? Like literally every single one of them, he inspects them, he plays them, and then once he's done, he signs at the back of the headstock. All right, we checked it. This is me. Here, this is the guitar. That's a beautiful thing. Like I'll check and play it myself to make sure everything is perfect. and then I sign the back of the headstock as my stamp of approval. It's my name now that you're having. Like, it's insane, man, the quality control they do. And that's because, again, he cares. Now imagine, God forbid, he passes away or moves on and some investor buys the company, or a bunch of investors. It'll be depressing. That's when, you know, older PRS guitars are going to surge in prices. They're already freaking pricey. Their wood library stuff is already freaking pricey. And then how that price is going to soar. Yeah. Zuhair says it's Thunderbird Crank It Up 2025. Agreed. Let me listen to it outside the stream, dude. I don't want to have a copyright claim on the stream. That's why I'm like a little hesitant. I'll write it down somewhere. Let me type it. That is Thunderbird Crank It Up 2025. Okay, I got it. I got it. Doroteo says PRS. Why am I not surprised? Chapman guitars. Okay. Chapman guy has his name behind it. Now, as he's producing those guitars, because he's the founder himself, you feel like, you know what? Bob Chapman is putting his name on his guitar headstock. I trust that, and I'll buy it. I know, because I trust Bob Chapman, he's gonna, you know, do me right with the guitars. Now, if God forbid Bob Chapman passes away and an investor buys it, how do you feel about buying Chapman guitars? Now, to be honest with you, with Chapman's is a little bit different because Bob is not a luthier himself. Bob Chapman is like a guitar player, more like, right? Whereas the likes of Paul Reed Smith, or Kiesel, or the guys at Aristides, they're like actual luthiers themselves. The Strandberg guys are also luthiers. Like, they have like the founder is a luthier. Yeah. Robert is like Bob, right? Like Bobby Kennedy, right? Right. But I know you like Chapman, dude. Doroteo, I saw this aqua baritone Chapman guitars. One of the older ones, like when the ML1 and 3s were out, like back in good old days, where things made sense. And they were, it looked awesome. It looked very, very similar to your guitar. It was like an aqua baritone Chapman guitar with, if I'm not mistaken, rosewood fingerboard and roasted maple neck. Yeah. Doroteo says Wings of Steel. Burning Sands is a new killer song. Oh, okay. Where are we? Hold on. Wings of Steel. Burning Sands. This guy. Okay. Let me write that down too. Wings of Steel. Burning Sands. All right, I'll check that out. I'll let you guys know how I think about it. Nice. Okay. Nice. All right. Shall we jump to the next item on the docket? By the way, can I say something? Just talking about everything becoming more and more individual, like everything becoming more and more like AI generated and everything else. What do you guys think of Youngblood? Because Youngblood seems to be the only rock star that is like from the new generation. Like, he's a rock star's rock star. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, he's a bit of a fresh breeze when it comes to this whole new generation of musicians. Because he really is like an old school rock star. No idea who Youngblood is or was? Check out his performance of the song Changes. You know Ozzy Osbourne's song Changes? I'm going through changes. Check out his live performance. He actually performed it in Birmingham on Ozzy Osbourne's farewell show. And he played it with Nuno Betancourt on the stage. He's great. He's really good. He covered some songs with Avril Lavigne. He's done a lot of like rock songs. Yeah. Ozzy likes him too. He's great. He's a British dude. But he's a rock star. Like he is like what you would think as an old school 90s rock star. But he's young. And like I'm like he's like a dying breed of musician, cuz like you don't get it. Like that. Like especially with AI and everything else going on, like there's going to be less and less people like that. And I don't like it, man. I like cultural icons like that. Anyways, so he was performing with Aerosmith. Like his career is really lifting off right now. So he did the Ozzy show. He did some other shows with Nuno. He's doing stuff with Aerosmith. Yeah. So check the guy out. He's pretty good. He's like a pretty decent guy when it comes to singing. He did this. You guys know, and I don't know. This is not so much metal anymore. This is more like pop. But do you guys know Avril Lavigne? This chick. So she was really big in early 2000s. Really, really big. And she had this album, I think, called Let Go. And that album, it was her debut album, and she just like exploded everywhere. She's this Canadian girl. Like she was like a short, really good looking Canadian girl. And everybody loved her. Like boys were crazy about her. Everyone. She was like rock star, kind of a pop musician-ish. Right? Really wild. And she came out with this album called Let Go. And Youngblood and her did a cover of like 2 or 3 of her songs, and it's awesome. There's a song called I'm With You. Yeah. So this is like an old song from 2002, so like 23 years ago. But she did the cover of this song with Youngblood, so they did it live together, and it was awesome. Sienna said, I've heard of her. Yeah. Hi, Sienna. How you doing? So yeah, this is like, so if you guys want to know how complicated, yes. That was the first song that really blew up for her. Things so complicated. I said away. Yeah. Good memory. I like it. So yeah, it's like Youngblood did like a couple of songs with her. So if you guys want to see it on YouTube, highly recommend it. They do a great live performance together. But yeah, man, I remember boys were crazy about her. Like when she came out, everyone was like so crazy about her. She beautiful voice, amazing artist, by the way. Great vocal range. Great dynamics in her vocals. I really like her. In fact, I might actually do a metal version of I'm With You. You know what? It just occurred to me. Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do a metal version of I'm With You. Yeah. So yeah, for those who are not educated on Youngblood, this is the YouTube video that they did that live thing together. It's like a trio. Yeah. So. But man, in a generation or two, we might never see something like them again. All right. Tell me, I got a question I want to ask everybody. How many of you guys use multi-effects pedal right now? I wonder, like, so recently I've been a little bit more into multi-effects stuff. And because I've sort of moved away from the sort of traditional amp. I used to have like a couple of amps at home. I sold them. I don't have any amps at home anymore. So I went a little sacrilegious. I get it. But I'm using a really nice multi-FX now. And that company, a very famous company of multi-FX pedals, came out with this new model called the Stadium XL. You guys know Line 6 Helix? So Line 6, everybody hopefully knows Line 6 is a brand of amplifiers. They have their own guitars too at some point, or at least had. But they're really big. They were one of the first companies that did multi-FX pedal right. In fact, Line 6 Kidney, this Kidney multi-FX pedal was one of the first pedals out there that really blew up. Everybody loves the Kidney, right? So, like, that was one of the first ones that came up. Doroteo says, I go straight to amp, no effect pedals. But, yeah, fair enough. You go old school. Zora says, how do I know what is a good multi-FX pedal to start with as a beginner? Interested in getting rid of amp for that too. Yeah, look, if you are interested in getting multi-FX pedals, the best way to do it is to try it out. Go to a store that allows you to try things out. And then secondly, know what you want from it, right? I'll tell you guys a story. So I had a Zoom FX. I had this Zoom 5XN. So this is what I used as my multi-FX pedal, right? Now, I liked it. It was convenient, very easy to use, extremely easy to use, right? The problems I had with it was, number one, it had a little bit of delay. The delay is like in milliseconds. Like, by the way, by delay, I'm not talking about the effect delay, like reverb delay. I'm talking about like a latency, right? Had a bit of latency. Very tiny. You wouldn't notice it if you're just playing chords, for example. But if you're doing tremolo picking, fast picking, you would notice that. And that, hearing your own playing with a little bit of latency changes the way you play. I used to always underestimate this, in all sincerity. I used to always underestimate the importance of that feedback and the impact of it on how you actually play, right? It was only when I bought sort of like a slightly better model with very, very, very low or non-existent latency, because there's always going to be a little bit of latency, right? But if it's like less than a millisecond, then you don't notice it. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be a little bit of latency because these are all electric circuits. And so, you know, it's physics. But they can do it so good now that you don't hear it at all. Even like a professional like person with a superb ear won't be able to, like, you know what I mean, hear it. It's only when I bought something like that that I actually realized the genuine difference in how it feels like to hear yourself playing without any latency or very little latency, that you don't notice it, right? So one of the cons with this one that I used was the latency. And the second con was that when I went on and, you know, chained up my effects and everything else, in my distorted sound, not so much with the clean, I could get a really superb clean sound out of this multi-FX pedal with its cabinet modulars and everything else, right? So with something like this, again, because it has amp and cap models, you can just directly put it into any PA system or studio speakers or something like that, right? Headphones, for that matter. So the clean tone was awesome. With distortion, it was pretty good too. So some of my like videos from 3 months ago, they sound pretty good. Like if you see the stuff that I play, the shorts that I post on YouTube, they sound pretty good. But the mid-range and the lower end frequencies were in the wrong parts, it felt like to me. So it didn't sound like as authentic. Now again, when you say sound as authentic, is very subjective. Somebody might say, oh, that actually sounds better. The non-authentic sound is better. So sound is really subjective, right? is what you like. But for me, the distortion sound for that felt a little off, right? It was really until I bought the Line 6 Helix. I'll show you guys. Let me move the camera. Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Okay, that might not have been the best idea. Give me a second. Okay. Can you guys see that? That's the Line 6 Helix that I bought. Hold on. Let me change the camera so you guys don't get dizzy. I just wanted to show you that. Right? So that was this. Line 6 Helix LT. Nope. That was this. Right? And I love it because of the fact that it has no latency that I can sense. And the sounds are genuinely realistic. And it has like Mesa Boogie models, like amp models in there. It has PRS Archons and Tremonti in there. It has a whole bunch of orange Fender Tweeds, a whole bunch of stuff. Like all the famous amps and cabs that you might look for is there in that. They got it. And the sound is really realistic, genuinely. So this is what I use now. Line 6 Helix LT. There are a couple of more newer models out now. So this one that I wanted to talk to you guys about, the Helix Stadium, is 2 iterations after the one that I just bought. I bought this one because it was much more like affordable comparing to the Stadium. So if I go to Sweetwater right now, Line 6 Helix. Right, so the Stadium is out, which is the one that I want to talk to you guys about. Well, I mean, we talk about it now. But you can pre-order it with a bag for $2,500 or just on its own, $2,200, which is very pricey. That's the one that is the XL model that comes with an expression pedal. The one without expression pedal on its own, everything else the same, is $1,800. The model before that, Line 6 Helix Floor, so this is Stadium, this is Floor, is $1,300. And then Line 6 Helix LT, the one I bought, is for $900. Now, these two are identical in sound. So the LT, let me move myself here. The LT and the Floor, Line 6 Helix, are identical in their sound quality and their processing power. The only differences is, like, for example, this one has LEDs above each stump button. So any stump button, anything you can press above it, there's this LED that tells you what it is on. This one is more like color coded, right? So that's really the main difference between them. Otherwise, the DSP power, the length of chain of effect that you can have on it is exactly the same. Now, this one, the new one that came out, has a completely different method of realistic sound engineering, right? So this one is now a direct competitor with Neural DSP's Quad Cortex. So the DSP is 4 instead of 2 processors. It has 4 DSP processors in there. And they're using this modeling model called Agora modeling that is AI assisted, basically. And they're generating like a lot more nuances in the realistic sound engineering, basically. Or that's what they're saying. With that being said, sincerely, I don't know how much better than this you can actually go, because the one that I have at home and I play with sounds very realistic, right? Zuhair says, so guitar connects directly to this and sounds out of your computer speakers? Yeah, literally. So you connect your guitar to this with a cable, and then a cable out goes into either some speaker, any PA system. So if you gig, that's like easy, just plug and go. It can also go to your sound interface, which is what's happening to mine, because I'm doing guitar lessons, right? I started teaching guitar lessons on my channel, and for me to like do that, because I literally like playing it, for me to do that, I literally have to go on and actually connect my guitar to my computer, right? So if you go to that playlist, there was this playlist called Free Beginners Guitar Course. By the way, just a shameless plug, it is a full course, and I'm uploading videos as I go. It's like a full free course, and the idea behind it is to get somebody who doesn't even have an electric guitar, doesn't even know what a chord is, and turn them into decent intermediate players. So the video 1 is like an intro, video 2, how to buy the first guitar, step by step, how to play your first note in song, how to play the first chord, and all the way to like hammer on pull-offs, tapping, and all that jazz. So it's going to take you from like very beginning to like decent intermediate player. And the goal for this is to have every information that you need to be able to do it for completely free. So like these videos go for, like this one goes for 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes for the guitar anatomy, 20 minutes how to buy the first guitar. So yeah, that's the idea behind it. So if you guys are interested, check it out. Or if you got a friend that wants to learn the guitar, this is literally free. Now, if you guys are interested in more practice material and me practicing with you, we have a site called School. And School is like this learning, this LMS, learning management system. And so in that classroom, there is me literally playing and practicing with you. Because a lot of times I'm like, it's a little hard to practice on your own. And instructors go like, you know what, go and play this for an hour. But they don't actually do it with you. And in this course, I'm literally do it with you, right? So all the information you need is for free, so that anyone from even disadvantaged backgrounds, as long as they can have a guitar, they can become good guitar players. It's completely free, all the information that anybody needs. And also, I talk about how to practice. But if you need extra practice material, and if you want to see me practice it with you, some extra practice tips and tricks, because knowledge is one thing, implementation is another thing, and you need both. You can go to that course, and it's going to be there for you. Yeah, so that's just like a sort of a bit of a plug there. But what I was saying, going back to the topic at hand, yes, I use my just direct cable to the effect and then to the computer. Yeah. So there we go. Zuhair says, damn, you looking so Japanese in that first video. Where is the katana sword? I hit it. I'm not going to bring katana swords on stream or on video. YouTube's going to ban my channel. For like somebody's going to report it for violent material, and then and I might get a little hot-headed too. I might talk about like classical guitar players and how I want them to meet my katana, and then next thing you know, I get reported. But yeah, tell you guys a funny story about this. So I went to the guitar store to buy the multi-effects pedal, right? And one good thing about it is that because I'm doing work in the guitar space, I have like a business number and, you know, file my taxes and everything else. I can actually literally write it off as a business expense, because it is. So I go to the guitar store to buy it firsthand. Otherwise, I would have bought it secondhand, but I wanted the like receipt and everything else because I like to be genuinely by the books on this. You know, do the right thing and be on the books. And so I go to the store, and there's this guy who is like clearly like a very artist type musician, right? You get the deal. Long hair, very skinny and pale, like, you know, oversized hoodie, like your local guitar player guy, like stereotype, right? And so I'm like, look, I'm looking to buy, because Neural DSP Quad Cortex is like $2.5 grand or something. It's expensive. I don't want to spend that much dollars on like that much money on a multi-FX pedal. But Line 6 Helix, I'm hearing a lot of good things about it, and can I try it? Like, I want to see which ones I like. And I knew before I went to the store that there's no difference between the floor model and the LT. So this was like a month or two ago before the Stadium was out, by the way. So I go there and I try them out. They sound the same. And I'm like, what's the difference? It's like, oh, it's just that one has LEDs and this one doesn't. That's really it. And I'm like, well, why would I get that? I'm not even gigging. Why would I get the bigger one if they sound the same? This is smaller, lighter, and does the job just fine. And he goes like, yeah, I gig, and I don't want the big one. I have the LT2, and it's awesome. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I'm like, all right, cool then. Then we know what we want. So I got the LT, and I can recommend it. So if you guys are interested, and you don't mind cuffing out $900, or honestly, if you don't need the tax write-off, you can just, it's like a personal thing, not a business thing. Buy secondhand. You can buy it a lot cheaper, like for half that price, easily. You know, a couple of scratches on it maybe, but like $900, still a lot of dough. So the only reason I bought it firsthand is because it's a business expense for me. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I highly recommend it. It's a very, very good pedal, easy to use, sounds realistic, gives you a lot of options of like very famous amps and cabs. You get a really good sound out of it. And the presets, like all the chains that are preset for you, are like famous artists models. There's one called Billy Castadon, you know, Bill from Macedon. There's one called Mayorish for John Mayer. It sounds like John Mayer's Strat. So they've set up some few things that for like, you know, copyright and trademark reasons can't use that person's or that band's name, but they played around with words. You know exactly what it is and what it's supposed to do. So yeah, there's one called Doom. If you guys know the Doom games soundtracks, there's one called Doom that sounds awesome. But yeah, so the new model, the Studio, is out. Not the Studio, sorry, the Stadium, Line 6 Helix Stadium is out. And I want to sort of briefly touch on that. For those who really want something professional, that's the way to go. So this is going to be in direct competition with Neural DSP Quad Cortex, which has been the industry standard basically for like the most advanced, the highest end thing you can get. This is competing with that now, in processing power and everything else. So yeah. So yeah, they're basically using an AI-assisted amp modeling methodology, which is completely different to the older models. So yeah, if anyone's interested, this is out there for you guys to check it out. With a weird website, by the way. I absolutely hate the fact that you have to scroll up and down for this to open. So yeah. But the best way to buy it is to try it, man. Go to a store. Usually reputable stores have like samples out there. Then they'll let you play. And if it's the last model they've got, they actually will let you buy it open box, which is a little cheaper, right? So you can buy something and say, all right, like, can I get it? And they're like, oh, it's the last one we got. You can always ask them, hey, okay, well, can I buy it open box? And then they will get the managers to come out and, you know, you can negotiate a deal with them. Doroteo says, it looks killer. It really looks killer. Look, I haven't obviously had the Stadium model. Obviously haven't had this myself. But having had the LT, I use and play the LT on a daily basis, I can wholeheartedly recommend it. If you can get your hands on a secondhand one, like that you can buy, say for example, for $500, it's really worth it. It's just the sound is so realistic, the responsiveness like is so low in latency, it's so responsive, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, so I can actually recommend this from experience. Yeah. And that was a long chat regarding a multi-FX. Okay? But yeah. Here, the thing is, and again, it goes back to what I said earlier on where we were talking about the Ying and Yang guitars for the Korn guys, right? If you look at the number of pedals they have on their pedal board, and now talking about the multi-effects, as they get better processing power, more DSP, right? More processing cores, because Neural DSP has 4, Line 6 Helix Stadium has 4, the one I have has 2, but 2 is like, allows you to chain up 2 rows of more than 10 pedals. 2 parallel, completely different presets you can run concurrently at the same time. That's a lot of effects. I don't use like half of it already. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even use half of it right now. And so you put all of that together, you would ask yourself, okay, well then what's the point of a pickup? You know what I mean? You can have a completely different outlook now towards pickups. Like, I won't be surprised, because so far, like, you know, for me, when I go and buy guitars, I think about, like, you know, how the pickup is like. I think about that a lot, because it makes a massive role in how the guitar is going to sound like, right? And now I think we're getting to a point where a lot of players will think, okay, well, what's the most even, most flat in response, most neutral like pickup, so that it becomes a good foundation for me to add all these effects to it and EQs and, you know, everything. Like, you got EQs, you got your reverb delay, you got your distortion and fuzz and overdrive, and you got your stereo effects, and you got your whatever, all these effects, right? And now you get to just buy one unit and have it all. You know what I mean? So then the thing becomes like, all right, well, what's the best pickup that fits that? As opposed to like, all right, let's buy the best pickup I can, and then the amp and the pedals and come in and they complement everything and build on top of it, you know? Yeah. Zohair says, see ya, Sorenzo. Have a good night. Have a good night, my guy. Any more Tuesday streams coming? I'll try my best, genuinely. But like that stream that I did for me in Australia time was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had to wake up the next day for work. And I was operating on 3-4 hours of sleep. So it was a little rough, okay? But I'll try. I'll do my best. Nice seeing you today. Nice seeing you, my guy. Take care. Have a well-deserved shut-eye. Have a good night. I'll see you around. And I think that's like a good time to call it out. I think we covered everything we really wanted to cover today. We went through it all. And I think I'm going to also call it a day. It was a quiet week for the guitars and everything after all. And man, we had technical difficulties, didn't we? We really had technical difficulties today. I really appreciate you guys hanging around, staying with me throughout the ups and downs of the stream, including the technical difficulties. So cheers to you guys for that. I ran out of green tea cans, so it's coffee now. But yeah, so good to see you. Thank you so damn much for hanging out. Zohair, Dorotio, love you guys. Thanks for chit-chatting with me. Enjoy our conversation as always. Racer X technical difficulties. Yes, sir. I don't know, man. I tell you, this is the truth. You prepare the docket and everything during the week, and before you get on live, you have to do some preparations. It's not just like you go and click on live. You have to set up the chats in the OBS because you have to redo it every time. Open the links, thumbnail, and all that jazz. Make sure the camera angles are okay because I do like lessons, right? And the guitar lessons, I'll share it with you, are like completely different angle, right? So if you have a look, the positioning of the camera, kind of that's a creepy smile, but the positioning of the camera is completely different, right? And then if I go like, for example, here, there's an additional camera that I set up there. So this webcam is completely different. So then when I change setups, going between the setups, right? It's challenging. So you have to set all of that up. Long story short is that it takes about an hour and a half before every stream to prepare to come live. And so you do all of that, you check everything, make sure everything is working, you're good to go, press live because it's live, and if it goes wrong, there's no going back and editing the video again. And this happens. But then that's honestly, that's the thing that makes it more fun in a way, right? It's like unexpected stuff coming up. That's the thing about live shows. That's the thing about live things. It's a different vibe, you know? And it makes me think, like, again, makes me think about what you and I just had a chat about earlier on, you know? Like, live performance is going away with AI and GPTs taking over. Yeah, man. And with that said, y'all, I bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for hanging out. Remember, we live only one life. Only one. So play guitar. Have fun. Chill. Don't worry too much. Pick up the guitar and play! Okay? Guys, have a great weekend! And I'll see you in the next video in some of the free lessons in the next stream. Mwah! Have a good Saturday night! Good night, Metal Maniac, says Dorotio! Good night, everybody! Take care!